So your success has a self-destruct switch, and it doesn't trigger when things are going badly. It triggers the moment things start working. And I need you to actually sit with that for a second before I go anywhere else with it, because I already know what's happening for some of you right now. And some of you are even nodding, and some part of you just went cold because you already know exactly which win we're talking about. Maybe it's a client who was ready to sign, everything agreed, and then they vanished. Maybe it's the launch that was building beautifully, momentum, engagement, people messaging you saying this is exactly what I need. And then something happened, a technical failure, a cancellation, a sudden crisis in your own life that swallowed the week up. Maybe it's a recognition. You finally got seen, an award, a feature, a big room, a big stage even. And within months, everything underneath it quietly fell apart and you told nobody. Or maybe it's even smaller than all of that. Maybe it's just the pattern of getting close again and again, close enough to taste it, and then watching it slip, calling it bad timing every single time because that's easier to say out loud than the alternative. And if any of this is landing, I want you to know something. It's not bad luck. It's not the universe testing you. That it's not meant to be. That is a distortion. It's sitting in your field that fires the exact point of receiving. And I know this one better than anybody else because I've lived it. I won Scottish Designer of the Year, build designer, years of work, years of building, a name in an industry that doesn't hand out titles lightly. And it landed, the recognition, the proof, everything I'd been working towards since I was a young woman with no qualifications and no safety net underneath me. And after winning the award, the prestigious award of Scottish Design of the Year, a few months later I was bankrupt. And here's the part that actually matters, more than the bankruptcy itself. I didn't tell a soul. Not my family, not my closest friends, not even my best friend. I carried that in complete silence for years because of the shame of it. Right after the biggest public win of my career, it felt unsurvivable. I would rather have people believe I'd simply moved on to something else than know the truth. And it wasn't until I wrote a book years later and told the whole thing, start to finish, that anyone actually knew what had happened, even my best mates. I lost 4 stone writing that book, An Empath's World to Freedom, if you're wondering what it is. You get it on Amazon. And that is how much I'd been holding physically in my body for years without even realising it. Now, you could look at that story and call it a business that just didn't survive. Because bridal is brutal. Margins are so thin. I could give you 10 practical reasons it happened. I used to tell myself those reasons too. But when you have decoded as many people's patterns as I have over so many years, across hundreds of clients and practitioners, you stop believing in coincidence at that level. What I see over and over in myself and in people I work with is this. The moment, the biggest visibility, the biggest recognition, the biggest proof that you're capable is very often the exact moment something moves in to take it away. It does. Done it many times myself. So let me actually explain why. because I don't want you just nodding along. I want you to understand the mechanics of it. Because somewhere, usually much younger than you'd expect, being safe wasn't seen. Being successful, being the one who won, being the one who stood out, led to something painful. Punishment, ridicule, even abandonment, even jealousy from someone who was supposed to be in your corner. A parent who could not tolerate you outshining them. A sibling, comparison that cut you every time you did well. Different for everyone, but the shape is the same. Visibility got punished. And your unconscious remembers that far better than your conscious mind does. Your conscious mind has moved on, built a whole adult life, developed real skill, real proof, real capability. But underneath all of that, there is a much younger part of you still running the old rule. If I get too visible, too successful, too seen, something bad happens. So it protects you. It trips the switch before life or another person can do it for you on its own terms. Because that way, it never catches you off guard again. And that is not self-sabotage in the lazy way people throw that phrase around. Like you're just not trying hard enough or you don't want it enough. It's a highly intelligent, very old protective system doing exactly the job it was built to do. And the problem isn't that it is broken. The problem is it was built for a version of you that doesn't even exist anymore. And nobody ever told it the danger had passed. I carried my bankruptcy in silence because I genuinely believed that if people knew, they would see me differently. Less than. Not the woman who won Designer of the Year, but the woman who lost everything right after it. That was a story running underneath. And I didn't even know it was there. Didn't even know it was there. Fully, until I went looking for it, properly. And in my own field, not just talking about it in therapy, which I also did plenty of, but actually decoding where that distortion sat and when I first got laid down with it. And once I found it and cleared it properly, the pattern stopped repeating in the way it had been. And I've built and I've rebuilt multiple businesses since then. I've had huge public losses since then too. And if you've been following me, you'll know I lost 10,000 followers overnight to a hack mid-launch. A YouTube manager took a dislike to me because I said no. But the switch has never fired the same again. Because the original wound underneath, it isn't running the show anymore. It's not there. So here's what actually shifts this, because I'm not going to leave you with just a diagnosis. First, you have to find a moment, not guess at it, not intellectualize it. Actually go looking in your own timeline for the age that it started. And it's rarely where you'd expect. It's often smaller than you'd think. A single moment, not a whole traumatic childhood. Second, you decode the distortion sitting there, not manage around it. This is the difference between mindset work and actual energetic work. You cannot affirmation your way out of a pattern. Trust me, I've tried it, especially if it's been sitting in your field. I know, because honestly, I have tried for years before I understood the difference of it. And third, and this is the part that people skip, you have to walk through the tension the next time you get close again, because the pattern doesn't just vanish the moment you find it. You'll feel the pull to sabotage again, right on schedule, and that is actually the proof it's working. Not the proof it failed, because you feel it, you name it. There's a tension I see, and you keep going anyway. Yeah? And there's a moment that's sitting underneath every single one of your near misses. Yours has a date on it too, even if you don't know it yet. Once it's found properly, the switch stops firing. You were never sabotaging yourself. You were protecting a version of you that never got protected the first time. And that version of you did the best that she could with what she had. And she's not the one who needs to be running your business anymore. And if you've watched this the whole way through, and there's a specific memory that surfaced while I was talking, a specific age, a specific face, a room, that's not a coincidence neither. That's your own field showing you exactly where it starts. Because I'm not going to tell you to go think about this. Thinking about it is what you've already been doing, probably for years. And if you know exactly which win you've been bracing to lose, don't wait for it to happen again to prove the theory right one more time. Book a call, links below. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.